Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week I'm taking a look at a very elegant looking airgun from FX, the Dreamline Classic. But before that, we're carrying on with our trial of baits for grey squirrel feeding stations, and this week we're pitting peanuts against sunflower hearts. Right, I'm back out targeting grey squirrels at a feeding station, and I thought we'd carry on with our very unscientific trial to see which bait they like best. Now, so far, peanuts have beaten unflavoured wheat and aniseed flavoured wheat hands down. So today we thought we'd up the stakes, and we're pitting those peanuts against sunflower hearts. Now, I've got two feeders set up side by side, one containing each bait. Now, in the past, some people have criticised us a bit, saying that the feeder with the peanuts has got a much larger feed tray, so that's basically making it easier for squirrels to take feed from it. So we've mixed it up, and what we've got is the peanuts are in the feeder on the left, which has a much smaller feed tray, and the sunflower hearts are on the in the feeder on the right, which offers a really large area to any squirrels that arrive. Now, the feed's been going down pretty quickly over the last couple of weeks, so I reckon we're going to get a few shots. The kit that I'm using for today is just a little bit different from usual. I've got the FAC rated Daystate Red Wolf. I don't usually use this gun for such close range hide shooting, and although it may seem like a bit of overkill, there are strong winds forecast for later today, and if they do come, I know that the high powered gun shoots a little bit more precisely in blustery conditions than sub 12 foot-pounds. As ever, I've got the gun matched with the usual MTC Mamba light scope, and that's held on with sports match scope mounts. So that's the hardware. Let's get into the hide. Right, so I'm in the hide, and it is really a very, very basic setup. So it's simple camouflage net hide. I haven't bothered dressing it in because the hide's been here now for about a week. The squirrels will be used to it. I should think they'll be so distracted by the food they won't even be looking around anyway. I'm set up about 25 metres from the feeding station. Nice clear shot, no obstructions, no branches in the way, and I'm shooting off of sticks, so there really is no excuse for missing. I don't really want to talk too much at this stage, so I'm going to be quiet now and wait for those squirrels to hopefully arrive.
Patience is order of the day for any kind of ambush like this. Fortunately, these feeders are pulling in the pests, and the first squirrel of the session soon puts in an appearance. This squirrel is definitely interested in our offerings, but which way is it going to go? After showing a lot of interest in the sunflower hearts, this squirrel eventually decides that it wants a peanut.
we had a bit of tension there. It initially looked like that squirrel was going for the sunflower hearts, but I don't think it took any, so we're going to have to award that one to the peanuts.
This squirrel is really gorging on the peanuts, but unfortunately for me, it's on edge and isn't hanging around to offer me a shot. The pull of the peanuts is too much though, and the squirrel is soon back for more, and this time I decide not to wait for it to keep its head still.
Wow, I was a bit impatient there, but I think we will definitely hand that one to the peanuts. And that's another great advantage of the 2.2 FAC. I couldn't quite get that one in the head. Heart and lung shot, absolutely clobbered it straight to the engine room. It's lovely to see wild birds coming to the feeder, and we're definitely noticing that they are showing a distinct preference for those sunflower hearts. I'm even starting to wonder if they could be the main reason why the feed level's going down in that feeder. What a cheeky sod. They were shooting fairly close to a release pen, and I know that the keeper has been shooting a few squirrels, and I fear that might be what's making them a bit jumpy. Now, that one did take a peanut, but we won't score it because it didn't result in a kill. No doubt about that one. That one was a definite point to the peanuts. I hope it was that same one that just came and grabbed one and ran off. And that was another squirrel there, nipping in to pinch a peanut without stopping. I have to say that I'm quite surprised at just how unconcerned the bird seemed to be by its presence.
There's no point in worrying too much about the odd squirrel grabbing bait and darting off. It's not usually long before they come back for more.
Wow, that's another one to the peanuts. It looked for a while like it was going to get jammed behind the rope that's holding the feeders up. And I also did wonder for a while if it was going to need a quick follow-up shot, but To be honest with you, headshot squirrels do tend to flail around a bit before they expire, and it's absolutely stone dead on the deck now. I've got to say I had expected a bit more action than we're getting, but we are starting to build a bit of a bag. Now, that was a bird that will scoff a lot of peanuts. Jays are incredibly greedy. Now, they are spectacular looking birds, but they can pose a lot of the same problems as magpies, specifically feeding on the eggs and chicks of other birds, including songbirds and game birds. There aren't a lot in these woods though, so we tend to leave them alone here. Squirrels, on the other hand, we want to hit them as hard as possible. It's an invasive species. The problems they cause are huge, starting with stealing grain from the grain feeders. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Just like your jays and magpies, they're also preying on the nests of birds, and the damage they do to the trees here is absolutely detrimental.
We sit it out in the hide for another hour, but it looks like we're going to have to be content with a fairly modest bag today.
Right, it's been a slower session than I'd expected, and it has gone absolutely dead now, so it seems like a good time to wrap it up. Now, as I said at the outset, it is a very unscientific test, but I think again we have proven that peanuts definitely have the biggest pull, and I think, yes, you would have good results using wheat or the sunflower hearts if there was nothing else on offer. But in places like here where you've got pheasant feeders, or maybe in gardens where you've got people with peanut hangers, the extra appeal of those peanuts is probably justified. Now, I do think that there are more squirrels to be had from here, so I'm going to leave the feeding station in place. We'll come back again and give it another go. And maybe on another occasion I'll try pitting the peanuts against maize and see how that fares.
Another win for peanuts on the grey squirrels there. And now it's the Airgun Show news.
This is the Airgun Show news. There's more on shooting organisations' plans to phase out lead shot for live quarry within 5 years. BASC has produced a guide to using non-lead shot, including how to buy the right cartridges for your gun. You can read it at basc.org.uk/lead. BASC's Colin Shedden said the evidence had been there for many years and we should embrace change now or be exposed to restrictive legislation within a much shorter timescale. While cartridge manufacturers have shown opposition to the announcement, it's not yet clear what implications the move could have for airgun ammunition. Let us know what you think about the move in the comments. Get ready for Chandigarh 2022. It's been confirmed that shooting and archery events will take place for the next Commonwealth Games, except they'll be in India, not Birmingham, 6 months before the main event. This is the compromise agreed after India threatened to boycott the entire Games over the lack of shooting events. At least these events will still count towards the overall medal total. How good is your firearms licensing unit? You can find out in the latest licensing league table published by BASC. Overall, certificate grants are getting faster. It takes an average of 61 days to process a new FAC and 59 days for a shotgun certificate. The best performing forces were Cleveland, Essex and Lincolnshire, while the slowest were West Midlands Police, Greater Manchester Police and Avon and Somerset. And finally, with conferences and sporting events being postponed across the world, it seems that even the shooting industry was not immune to the threat of coronavirus. IWA, Europe's largest shooting trade show, was due to take place this weekend. However, organisers have decided to reschedule the event for September. New dates have now been confirmed, with the show set to return to the Nürnberg Messe from the 3rd to the 6th of September 2020. That was the Airgun Show news.
Right, well, it's blowing an absolute gale outside and pouring down with rain, so we've been forced indoors for this week's review. We've got another FX on the bench this weekend. Typically, FX airguns tend to look quite futuristic, minimalistic and tactical, but that's not the case with all of them. This is the FX Dreamline Classic, which retails for £899.99 and is actually quite a traditional looking gun. Now, although it does at face value look like a classic sporter, don't be fooled by this airgun's appearance. It actually boasts some very innovative features. There are numerous different models of the Dreamline, from bullpup to tactical and target. Now, these airguns are built around a modular concept with lots of interchangeable parts, which means you can switch barrels, stocks and much, much more. The airgun that you take home from the shop really is just the starting point. I have to say that the classic stock is absolutely beautiful. It's available in a grey laminate, a black synthetic, and this version, which is a lovely piece of walnut. It's quite a slim stock and it's ambidextrous, but you'd struggle to notice that when you're holding it on aim. It's really nicely contoured and feels great in the shoulder. The fore end of the stock is pretty long, so long in fact that the checkering on this section is just a little bit too far forwards to properly get your hand on. It looks good though, and in this case seems to be there more for aesthetics than function. Now, the same sharp checkering is also present on the pistol grip, which has a nice swell and really fills your palm. The very pronounced cheek piece is nice and high, and it needs to be because you need to use fairly high mounts to keep the scope tube clear of the magazine, which stands quite proud of the rails. Everything about the stock design looks clean and neat, right down to the simple soft rubber pad which finishes the butt section. At 97 centimetres long, this is a fairly standard sized carbine airgun, but it is incredibly light. It weighs less than 2.5 kilos unscoped. Now, I've put a fairly compact scope on it, and even with that and mounts, it only weighs 3 kilos. Finish and engineering both look and feel immaculate, which is pretty typical of FX, and I guess it's what you should expect at this price point. The scope rails on this model are 11mm dovetail, and attachment is via 2 sections either side of the magazine slot, and I reckon it should offer adequate clamping space to accommodate most scopes. Now, the floating barrel is fully shrouded, and although that shroud does offer some sound suppression, I reckon that most shooters will probably want to fit an additional silencer. Now, the UNF thread beneath the end cap enables you to do just that. Adaptability really is the buzzword with the Dreamline range, and that is certainly the case with the barrel. This airgun comes fitted with FX's very accurate smooth twist X barrel. Now, it features an interchangeable system that enables you not only to change calibers, but also to change the barrel liner so you can experiment with different twist rates. The Dreamline runs a slick multi-shot cocking and loading system which revolves around a cassette type magazine. And that magazine has a hefty capacity, delivering no less than 22 shots in 177, 18 in 2.2 and 16 in .25. Now, while it is very nice to be able to have all those shots without having to reload the mag, its size is a bit of a nuisance, and I wonder if I might just prefer to have a smaller magazine so I could mount that scope just a bit lower. The magazine works well though. Now, to reload it, you need to turn the central locking clip into the unlocked position so that you can remove the clear rear faceplate. Now, you turn the central cassette anti-clockwise as far as it will go and then drop a pellet into the first port. That pellet holds everything still under spring tension, so you can then go on to drop pellets into each of the remaining ports. When the magazine is full, you snap the clear faceplate back on, turn the central clip
back into the locked position, and it's ready to go back into the gun. The magazine is driven by a very smooth side lever action. It's well positioned, slick in operation, and I really like the drop down handle. Another neat little feature that really impressed me is the small magnet that holds the lever securely in place when it's in the closed position. The adjustable two-stage trigger is fantastic. The blade may look fairly simple, but it's a great design which transmits loads of feel and is angle adjustable. The action feels flawless. The first stage is fairly short, but it comes to a very positive stop before it breaks crisply with absolutely no hint of creep. There's a very simple safety catch just behind the cocking lever. Again, it looks basic, but it does its job. The gun is safe when it's in the rearward position, and you simply nudge it forwards when you're ready to take the shot. Charging is via a quick field probe which slots in towards the front of the cylinder, and a neat rotating collar ensures that dirt and grit is kept clear from the inlet. Now, despite this gun's very sleek cylinder, it can still return around 200 shots from a full 230 bar fill at sub 12 foot-pound power levels. Now, there's a gauge at the front of the cylinder which gives a clear indication of remaining air reserves. It's just a bit of a pity that you have to look down from the dangerous end to see it. The dial on the side displays regulator pressure, and FAC rated models give you the option of external regulator adjustment plus power adjustment via a spring tension adjuster. This is a sub 12 foot-pound 177 model, and that only offers airflow adjustment. 177 setting with this gun gives you the highest power output, whereas the other settings reduce muzzle energy. The test gun is churning out 11.5 foot-pounds on its highest power setting. Now, the regulated action makes for extremely consistent shooting, and shot-to-shot variation was just 4 feet per second over a string of 10 shots. Combined with that brilliant trigger and the smooth twist X barrel, it makes for extremely accurate shooting. Unfortunately, today's horrendous weather means that we're not able to get out onto the range and shoot some targets, so I can show you exactly how this airgun shoots. However, I have managed to put a few pellets through it, and I can say that its precision rivals virtually anything at this price point. And we will do our absolute best to get out in the not too distant future and put together a range video so you can see how this gun performs on paper. In the meantime, if you are looking out for an airgun that combines cutting edge performance with classic styling, do try to give the FX Dreamline Classic a try. It is a heck of an airgun, especially when you consider that it costs well under $1,000.
Look out for the new and improved Airgun Shooter magazine, packed full of technique, gear and insight from some of the best shooters in the industry. Brand new look and free video content. Pick up your copy today in stores or online.
That's all for this week, but we'll be back again in a fortnight. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you aren't already a member of the BASC, have a look at their website and check out the benefits that you could be taking advantage of through Airgun membership.